We build our complete program around family atmosphere because all of the young people that we coach have families of some kind. All of them had some family that pulled them together and helped them get where they are today. So within that family atmosphere, we first promote communication, then we promote trust and respect, and then common purpose.
Today's podcast is from a clinic talk I had the honor of moderating with head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Mack Brown. It was at Lauren's First and Goal Clinic in January, one of the biggest clinics of this past year that was held for the purpose of funding pediatric brain tumor research and cancer services, part of what Lauren's First and Goal Foundation does. And so today we're going to share the part of the talk that Mack Brown identifies as his foundation, as he talked about in the introduction. So let's first take a listen to what he has to say about communication.
My grandfather taught me when I was young, he said the first impression is made by somebody that meets you in the first 60 seconds. And I thought, gosh, how important is that, man? That's recruiting, that's interviewing for a job. So why? And he said they want to be around happy people. So be around somebody that smiles. You be a smiler. Dress neat, just to show respect to the person and the position that you're trying to get. Learn their name. Names are very, very important to people, and keep repeating that name in the conversation. So if it is Coach Luce and his name's John, I say John, I repeat John again, and keep saying it. So when he leaves, I can say, John, let's stay in touch. Or if he asks a question later, I'll be able to address him by name, which is really, really important. And then keep eye contact and show interest. I met 4 of the last 4 presidents. I never met President Trump, but all 4 of the other ones, when they were meeting with me, acted like I was the only person of interest. That they never took their eyes off me. They were asking questions about me. They were showing interest in me, which I thought was really unique, that all 4 would have those qualities, and keeping very good eye contact and not looking around the room to see who's the next guy I can go talk to. So I thought that was very, very important part of getting to know people. And then ask people what you can do for them. Tell them what they can do for you, because a lot of people don't know why you want them. But if you're interviewing a guy, you're recruiting a guy, say, here's what you can do for us, because they need to know that. And then say, here's what we can do for you. They need to know both. And I think that's very important as you go through. Listening's hard to do sometimes, and we need to learn to listen. With all the social justice issues this year, I'm not black. I haven't been around prejudice in my life. I've been very blessed. I've never been stopped by a police officer when I didn't do anything wrong. So I had to learn from the players this year, and the only way you can learn is listen. And I wanted them talking to me and letting me know exactly what they felt and why they felt it, because we didn't have any prejudice in our locker room. We didn't have any prejudice around their building, but the prejudice was happening to young people when they get outside of our program, outside of our bubble, outside of our family. And that was really my responsibility too. So I've tried to do a better job of listening and learning and trying to help bring change just in this area. And then the other thing that is very important is in communication is be very direct. Be very clear. I talked to Terry Donahue, the great coach at UCLA, and after he got through 20 outstanding years in college football, and I said, Coach, if you had to do over again, what would you do different? He said, I fired 4 guys in my 20 years at UCLA, and all 4 of them said, why'd you fire me? So he said, I obviously wasn't direct enough with them. So what you need to do is tell them what you like that they're doing, tell them what needs to get fixed, and give them a timetable. And then if they don't fix it, fire them. But at least they know what you're mad about. And if we don't talk to them enough, and a lot of time men aren't direct enough, we can't be sensitive in this business. We've got to talk to each other. We've got to be direct, and there can't be elephants in the room. So one of the things that I committed to do when I came back to coaching is make sure that everybody knew everything that I knew. And everybody in the room knew what I wanted and why I wanted it. And that was very, very important to me. The last is you've always got to be direct and tell the truth. But Red McCone's a dear friend of mine, is a billionaire from San Antonio, and he owned the Minnesota Vikings. And Red was telling me the story that he walked in one day, and it's the first day he's at the Vikings organization. He's got all of his team in there his staff members, not his football team, but his staff team and all of the people that are going to be working with him. And he said, okay, the first thing we're going to do is sell out every preseason football game for the Vikings. And the general manager stood up and said, you can't do that. Red said, you're fired. He said, no, Red, you don't understand. He said, no, you don't understand. It's really important to me that we sell out every preseason game. So that's what we're going to do. Get out of here, get your stuff out. And of course, then Red says, now let's start the meeting over. We're going to sell out every preseason football game. And he said, everybody in there said, yeah, I got it, Red, we'll do it. And they did it. So you've got to be very direct, but you've got to tell people what you want. And then you've got to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because you can take a bad decision with a lot of average people. And if everybody's working to get it done, you can still make it work. That's got to be a huge part of this.
Trust is an important part of developing a team and in developing people. And Coach Brown talked about trust and respect as a foundation of his program in this next segment.
Then we start talking about trust and respect that are easy to say but hard to do. I asked my granddad. I asked Jim Wacker, who was a great coach at Texas State and at TCU and at Minnesota. Coach Wacker would come to Texas when I was there in my early years a lot. And I would say, tell me something, Coach. Tell me something to make a difference for me. And he would always say, you control your integrity, your honesty, and your attitude. And then my granddad had always said, and Coach Wacker repeated it, always do what you know is the right thing to do. And then you never have to worry about what you say to somebody or anything else. And Coach Royal was the same way. The mark of a man's how he treats people when they can't do anything for him. So he said, go down and see your janitor every day and tell him in his office, at his area, how much you appreciate him keeping the building clean. And he said, because you got to have morale from everybody, and that starts from the bottom up. You treat your third teamers like you treat the first teamers, because if the first teamer gets hurt, he's going to think he's a third teamer. And then you're going to be treating him like he sees these other people being treated. So it's really, really important that you always treat people right. You always tell the players that you've told your coaches to treat them like they would want their sons and daughters to be treated.
The final component of Coach Brown's foundation is common purpose. And of course, common purpose is what drives a team towards success.
With common purpose, I went to Iraq, and I think it was 2009 in the summer, and about 7, 8 coaches went over to say thank you to our troops. We were on the front lines. We were dressed in full gear that was 45 pounds, and they were sending missiles into the places we were staying. You could hear machine gun fire on the outside. So this is real stuff. I mean, there's people dying in Iraq at this time, and now Afghanistan and across the world with terrorism trying to keep us safe. So it really got me. Number one, this is real. It is important. So I started looking at common purpose, and we had things like Coach Royal always told me when I first got to Texas. I said, how can Texas be better? And he said, there's a lot of different parts of this program, Coach. You've got your letterman, you've got billionaires, you've got graduates, you got faculty, you got grassroots people, you got local media, you got national media, you got 27 million people in the state of Texas that care about what you do every day. And he said, that's what makes it so special, but that's what makes it so hard. So he said, the analogy is like a box of BBs. And the box has been dropped and the BBs are scattered all over the room. The most important job for you is to get those BBs back in the box. And I understood that. Then I also asked Coach Royal one time, we had a young high school coach come up and ask him, how can I be like you, Coach Royal? And Coach Royal obviously won 3 national championships, and the stadium's named after him at Texas. And he said, hey, boy, if you've got it, you'll make it. If you don't have it, you won't make it. And if you don't know what it is, you got no chance to make it. So the young coach looked at me and I kind of said, I got you. I'm trying to figure this out too. He turned around and walked off. Coach Royal said, hell, he ain't got it. So you got to find what it is for you, and it's got to work for you. And then you've got to build your whole program, whether it's your coaches, your players, your boosters, your fans, faculty. Everybody has got to buy into what you're doing through your communication, through your trust and respect, and through your common purpose. So General Odinero was in charge of Iraq at this time, and we were so lucky to get an hour and a half with him. And I asked him, why do these young people over here re-enlist? The average age is 19 years old at that time of our military. They're making $24,000, $25,000 a year. They get that check and they have to send it back to their families. I said, why do they stay? I just don't understand that. And he said, Coach, we got a common purpose. And our common purpose is to take care of the person on our right and take care of the person on our left. Our common purpose is to do what's right to keep America safe. And they said, by doing that, we feel like we have a purpose. So I wanted to take that back to our football team because we'd done the communication, we'd done trust and respect, but we really didn't have a common purpose. We thought we did, but we didn't. So the common purpose ended up being, we want to have fun. Not enough people are having fun with football right now, and it's a sport. Everybody's worried about their next job. Everybody's worried about getting fired. It's really, really important that you have fun. Secondly, we wanted all of our guys to graduate because that's really important to us. That's why you come to college. Thirdly, we want to help prepare them with name, image, and likeness and branding. We want to help prepare them for life after football because that's important as well. And last is we want to win all the games. And every decision we make outside of their personal lives is this going to help us win the game? So when people ask me to speak, is it going to help us win? Is it going to help us, our sport? Is it going to help us recruit? Is it going to help us sell tickets? But every decision we make is in that area.
So there you have it, the foundation for North Carolina's football program as presented by head coach Mack Brown. Again, thank you to Mack Brown for taking part in Lawrence First and Goal Clinic and to all the coaches who contributed and provided clinic talks. All of those are available on CoachTube. And go to the Lawrence First and Goal page. You can find the link in our show notes. Follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski and follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com.